Hello everybody, this is Marshall and this is my lovely husband Vito.
Hello everybody.
And for those who are new, welcome to The Process and also welcome to my channel. This is your first time on the channel. So welcome, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Okay?
Yes. You sure you wasn't eyeing me down or you wasn't looking at me?
I was not. Matter of
In
fact,
the process?
listen you guys, matter of fact, when he approached me, during the time that he approached me, I was actually getting ready to move to Baltimore.
Yeah, you were.
Remember that?
Well,
I was getting ready to put my house on the market. I had applied for a job.
Yes, you did.
I actually got the job. I didn't find out until after the fact.
It was like $62,000 starting in Baltimore.
In Baltimore. I had applied.
$62,000.
And that was big time back in the day.
Yes, that was.
I applied at a HBCU, which was and I didn't even know that I got the job, didn't know that I was accepted, and I got like, okay, I need to know because time was ticking. I'm trying to figure out when do I put my house on the market. And here he is coming to me talking about
well, see, hadn't told you yet what God had told me.
Well, God had told him I was your wife.
Right.
I didn't know.
She didn't know because I never tell her. But in the same remember we talked about our first date, right? Our first date. Well, in the process of the first date, it was the week after that she was already going through the process of going through your interview, right, in Baltimore?
Nope.
Or was that before?
No, what had happened was
that before?
No.
Was that was after? That was after.
But me and my friend, we went to Baltimore because I hadn't heard anything. I had been calling.
You know, when you and I were talking and you told me that, well, this leader didn't tell you that I was getting ready to move. I was like, move where? Where you going?
Baltimore.
And she said, I'm moving to Baltimore. I'm like, what? Now, keep in mind, I done went through all of this, you know, her and I talking on the phone, me asking her, what did she see in me, what God showed her.
And for those who have not seen that video, I'm going to put the link up there. So just click that info tab up there. You can go back and see how we met and the story that we were talking about.
So here I am. She telling me that she's getting ready to move to Baltimore. Now, all of these thoughts going to my mind. I'm like, God, I know you didn't set me up again. Really? Did you really set me up? You done brought me this far, and you told me to trust you. Now, here I am, and this young lady telling me God gonna show me your heart. Everything what you don't say, but then you ain't tell me that she moving to Baltimore. So here I am looking up, you know, she didn't know it while we was on the phone at the time. I'm looking up. And she telling me on the phone, well, I'm moving to Baltimore. I'm looking up like this, say, God, like, what do you do? What do you mean? What do you mean she's moving to Baltimore? So then that's when you told me that, you know, me and my best friend, we're going to go up. And that's when you're talking about y'all went to Baltimore.
Yeah, went to Baltimore.
And check this out. When she said that, yes, now, there's no doubt entered into my mind or my heart at that time. I still believe God. I still believed God at that time because I knew that I don't know how it was going to work and I don't know what was going to take place.
But I told you, I said, are you going to be one of the drive to see me? And you talking about, yeah.
Because I knew in my heart, based on what she told me, what I knew what the Lord had told me 3 months before, who my wife was. But don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong now. Don't get it twisted. At that time, when you first said that Baltimore, I was like, are you kidding me?
My best friend and I, when we got there, we ended up going to, and I wish she was here, but some of the details I'm probably going to mess up. When we got there, what I remember, we were on the plane, and she was telling me the whole time, after the fact, that she knew I wasn't going to stay, but she was just going along with me. So when I went, our first stop was the college. So I ended up going to the college. They had to find my information. And as I was walking around, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So my best friend stayed in the car. She's like, you know, you going by yourself and so you can kind of pray and see if this is what God wants you to be. And she told me, she said, girl, when you got in the car, I knew you was not going to stay here. I went into the dorms and I looked around. I was like, I I know this is not God.
And why did you feel that way? Because of what? The way it looked?
It was. This is no joke, y'all. I'm embarrassed. HBCU looking like this. It was terrible. It was.
God asked God to let every brick
I
fall
saw
down.
rats
Everything. I asked God, Lord, let us see roaches.
Roaches.
And
I
Not for real.
did. It
Not
was
for real, though.
rust. It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't God.
Okay. So then what happened?
So then I went to the front office and they found my information and they told me I was accepted. Go figure. So after I've seen everything and I was like not happy, not satisfied. I was like, okay, well.
Because you was really going up there to see.
Right.
Really to see.
I was going to see if I got accepted and
yeah.
also to see the place because I hadn't heard anything and time was ticking. I had to make sure I had to put everything, my house on. Yeah. So once I did that, when I walk out the door, my friend looks at me and I look at her and I'm like, no. So she rolling and I'm like, I cannot believe this. So then
I was waiting on the phone call, y'all. I was like, God, you finna do something here. I don't know what it is.
So I hadn't heard anything from the lady told me that they got my information because I applied for the job at the school. So not only was I going to attend the school, I was going to be working at the school too. So she said that she was supposed to be getting back with me or something like that, or it'll be in the mail. I can't even remember. But all I know is when I went back to my friend, I was like, no, this is not it. This is not it. So we ended up going to Washington because she had a relative in Washington. So we kind of made the trip a vacation after that. Yeah, and I ended up calling him and telling him what took place or whatever.
Y'all should have seen me on the other end of that line.
What you was doing, babe?
Girl, I was jumping for joy in my truck. She didn't even know, but I was like, thank you, Lord God, you showed up. Because remember, I had to still believe God too now. And
when I got home, check this out. As soon as I got back from Baltimore and Washington, I look in my mailbox, and lo and behold, there's my acceptance letter for HBCU, and I got the job.
Yeah.
I'm like...
But remember, wait a minute. You were still in Washington. That's when I told you that the Lord spoke to me and told me that you were my wife.
Right. He did tell me that when I was in Washington.
That's right. I told her that in Washington. I believe that was the right time that God was telling me, now it's time for you to tell her that she is the one that I've chosen for you as her being your wife. And tell her what I told you 3 months ago. So I had to explain the whole thing to her. You know, what God dealt with me, what he told me, what my wife was going to say, how I was going to be able to identify her. I was going to feel inadequate. Why? Because my credit shot. You know, I didn't have a lot going on at all, y'all. You know, I didn't have a good stable job like I wanted, you know, but she was a very stable woman. She had her own place, had her own house. I had an apartment. So there's, you know, it doesn't matter what apartment.
Had good credit.
She had good credit. I had bad credit.
Excellent credit.
You know, she had a car paid off. I had a car note. So it was just a lot.
I had a savings account.
She has a savings account. I didn't. I mean, I had a savings account, but it wasn't nothing in it. You know, but those were the things that what, you know, God had dealt with me about, you know. But I had to tell her this while she was in Washington. It was like God was saying, now it's time for you to tell her. And sure enough, I text her first. And when I text her, she called me. Didn't you call me? Mm-hmm. She called me when I texted.
You don't be texting nothing like this.
Yeah, and that's when I explained to her what happened. And when I explained to her how everything transpired, because remember, that was my first time ever telling her how God dealt with me about her being my wife. And then that's when
you talked a lot when I was in Washington.
Yeah.
And my friend kept saying, that's the one. That's the one. I was like, I don't know. But she knew. But I was like, I don't know. I'm still praying.
And she was still, I mean, I only laid it down to her. Told her what God said
whatever,
and all
ladies,
that. You know, just put it all
tell you
like
whatever. You better make sure it's God.
Nice piece of bread with wheat Nice mayonnaise with, the cheese on. I mean, everything.
I'm lactose intolerant in a way.
I
can't.
See, I was like, what you talking about? You know what?
But as soon as I got home,
I
got everything in the mail out. And I know it was a reason why I had to go first. Because had I not went first, guaranteed I would have went on and sold my house. I would have accepted the position.
She would have missed her blessing.
I would have went to a school, and once I got there, I would have hated it. But it was in God's plan.
Blessing. Tell him the truth. Tell him the truth, girl. You would have missed out on this. All of this. Tell him. Go ahead and tell him. But that's when you came back. And did you acknowledge and were you accepting it at the time, or were you still struggling?
I was still struggling.
See, so tell him why you were still struggling. Why you were still struggling to accept me at that time?
Because there are some things that he revealed to me that I just was not prepared for.
Like what? It's okay.
Like you having children.
In my previous marriage, I did. Yes, I did.
Because I didn't want to deal with that.
She didn't want the baby. She didn't want the baby mama drama.
And who does?
Of course. But I put that thing up in check. You feel me?
So it was that. It was the credit issue.
I had
the money
bad
issue,
credit, bad money
everything
issue.
that a woman,
because y'all want the security,
right?
You want the security,
and that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. But at the time, you didn't know what I was going to turn out to be. So what happened?
I had to continue to pray, because a lot of things I had already preconceived in my mind. This is how my husband is going to be. And I believed that this is how he was going to be. This is what he was going to be like.
So you had the devil on your shoulder and the angel on
No, but I just felt like I wanted my husband to bring something to the table, just like I'm bringing something to the table.
Okay. And why is that? Why did you feel that way? Why did you have a preconceived?
Because I believe most women want that security, want that stability, want that man that's going to take care of her, and that's just how we are. That's how we're built. Is that how the way that traditionally we were all raised? Yeah, I think that's how society portrays. That's how it's supposed to be.
But what did you learn from that? Did you learn that really your dependability on the man to have security?
I learned that you have to obey God, because only God knows the future, and only God knows what a person is going to turn out to be. And we cannot judge based on our present, because someone can be rich today and you married him based on his money, and then a few weeks later he loses his job. Because I lost jobs while we were courting. He lost a job while we were engaged, prepared for the wedding. He lost his job. And he lost a couple of jobs, didn't he? No, that was the one job that I lost. While we were preparing. And I had to go through a temporary service, But these were all tests. And I was doing his resume. She was helping me do my resume. She was helping me apply for jobs. But these were all tests. To see. That I believe. To see, are you really you? Because God didn't have a problem with me. I was just doing what I was doing to do. But it was your process. That was part of your process. I was struggling. I was like, Lord, really? Because there were other young ladies who we talked about earlier who had a problem. They knew that I didn't have a stable job. I had children from the previous marriage. I paid child support. And basically, that'll run anyone. That'll run anyone off. But when God is in the midst of something, you never know what a person will turn out to be. It has to be God in it now. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because that person, I believe there are some connections that exist, and it wasn't God, and they thought, well, I'm going to stick to that person anyway, or I'm going to go ahead and take a chance on that person, and they wind up being the worst nightmare what they thought it was going to be. And that's why at the end of the day, it's all about making
all
sure
about
you obey
make sure
God.
it's God doing it, not you doing it.
If this wasn't God, we would not have made it. We would not have gotten married. We wouldn't be together right now.
Right.
So and one thing I know about me, when it came to money, I'm very frugal. Always have been. I love to make sure we have, savings. I like the retirement. I like that. And when he didn't have any of that, and he had children and he had alimony, it was like it was opposite of what. Alimony. I mean, not alimony, but child support. Yeah. So it was like everything opposite of what I like or what I believed. So I was like, okay, God,
I didn't meet her personal
expectations.
Preference.
Right. Absolutely.
Personal preference of what she.
And a man.
Right. And I think that's a mistake. Even from a male perspective, men have this personal preference of this is the type of wife they want to have. This is the type of wife that they like. They have no clue about that woman's heart. Mm-hmm. They don't know her heart. They don't know what she's going to turn out to be.
Right.
She can look good on the outside, but on the inside, she's torn, she's hurt, she's battered. She's not going to be that type of wife that he needs for her to be, and vice versa. He's not going to be that type of husband that he needs to be to that wife, because why? She's looking at how, his physique. She's looking at even him having a nice car and having a stable job. But just like you said before, if it ain't God connected, what will happen to that marriage if he loses, if she's marrying him for security? And not marrying him because God said marry him. Right. Well, Lord, he doesn't have this. He doesn't have it. It doesn't matter because you don't know 20 years from now where I'm going to take him. Right. You have people that have those same stories in that.
Now he owns his own business. Yeah. His credit score is all good now.
See that? Yeah, that's God. But trust me, it was very difficult for me too as well now, because when God told me that I was going to feel inadequate, I didn't understand why. He didn't explain to me why. And you have to understand that when God speaks to you, he speaks to you in increments. God is a father. You have to understand something. Just like those of you who are watching this, you are parents and you have children. There are a lot of things that you're not going to release to your children all at one time because they cannot handle it. There's no possible way. And if you do that, you're going to be most miserable because they're going to be bugging you about everything that you don't told them. So if God was
rebellious,
very much. So if God was to show us everything, what He's going to be delivering or taking us through in our process all at one time, we would not be able to handle it. So
or it's not, or it might even take faith. A lot of times He doesn't tell us because He wants us to trust Him every step of the way. He doesn't want us to do it because God gonna bless you with this. He said, no, I want you to trust me. And what is faith? You can't see it. Right. It's just Him. So when He said,
I was afraid.
Yes, this is your husband. Go forward. Yeah. Don't worry about about the job. I'm gonna take care of you. And I tell you guys, we didn't miss a beat. No. Our wedding was paid off before we said I do.
Yep, sure was.
We didn't have debt after the marriage. It was truly God, and it was a test, and I believe it was the enemy in our trying to distract, trying to get me to say never mind, because sometimes the enemy can mess you up so you can back up your blessing. Right. Give up your blessing. Right. So
but God had to still show her and show me at the same time that He's working on you, and then He was working on you, but also He was working on me, and that was one of the most that was a very challenging time even on my part, especially when I lost a job, trying to.
And I'm trying to be there to support him, to encourage him. At the same time, I'm struggling over here. Like, God, you know how to help me because I'm frustrated. I'm doubting now. I'm like,
now remember, God put us together now.
I was like,
and we got the testimony to go along with it. We got the voice spoke to us. We got the way God put everything together. But
when those circumstances and those challenges started hitting, I started doubting. I was going to my friend like,
Yeah.
And she would just pray with me. And she's like, Michelle, you got this is God. I'm like, oh Lord. But at the same time, I'm supporting him. I'm writing his resumes. I'm helping him, doing marketing.
Yeah, because I was not a educated. I wouldn't say I was an educated person, as far as degree. Of course, I had an AAS degree from a certain school, which I don't want to say, computer engineering technology degree that I still got right now in this particular
you don't
area
know
in my
anything
house.
about computers.
And I have no idea what the computer is, what it do, at that time, all theory, So me, I'm,
Anyway,
this is me.
So,
but anyway, yeah, so I mean, it's just one of the things where God has to be in it. That's why this is why we share what we sharing with you all, is that if you want to do it right, you make sure God is in it.
And pray
God
every
is
step of the way. You can't not pray.
And if you don't know God's voice, ask God to reveal to you His voice. It's just that simple. It really is. Because some people, they don't know when God is speaking because they're so used to doing it on their own. They have already substituted God's voice for their own voice. Based on what they want instead of what they need. So if you have trust me, it took me a while to understand it, but I had to God, I don't know how you speak to me. I need for you to really teach me how to hear your voice. I need to have my ears clean, and I need to hear your voice. I need to know how you speak to me. And God, He has started to develop that. While you and I had started our recording, He was teaching me, He was showing me, and even after we got married.
Because I even asked a question like, babe, you think we just wait, hold off? Let's postpone it. I was trying to get up out of it.
Yeah, she wanted to wait a whole 2 years.
It was longer than that one time.
No, it was 2 years. It was 2 years when you started. This is when we've already come to an agreement. Okay, she has finally come, to an understanding that God is in it. She started to believe more in spite of. In other words, she started to continue to operate off of what got her there, which is faith. Things, but yeah, we had some great challenges, and we still do. We still do have some great challenges, but to get over that hump, and we didn't allow that to hold us back from what we believe that God put us together, and we move forward in that. Now we got to see, even talk about the other process of you not wanting to have a child. And you got a beautiful little Bam Bam, right? A little Bam Bam. Little Bam Bam right there.
So as you can see, you guys, you cannot judge a book by its cover. You have to trust God in every step, whatever it is that you may be going through personally, and you're doubting, but you heard the voice of God. And that's the key. You have to make sure you have a relationship with Him so you can hear Him, so you know when He's speaking and when it's not you speaking. And there's one thing I want to leave the ladies. God may send you someone, and he's not going to be perfect. I'm going to tell you up front, he is not going to be perfect. He may not even meet all of your expectations. But understand, you don't know what that man is going to become. Only God knows. And no, he's not going to be perfect, but guarantee if it's God, he will be perfect for you. So I know a lot of females, they have forfeited their blessing because of judging, because of the guy's present condition or his present circumstances. And you cannot. Thank God I did not, because my baby turned out awesome.
And all of y'all that rejected me,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Because I am so grateful that this woman stood by my side. Thank you, baby. Thank you for standing by my side and not giving up on me. And thank you, Miss M. You know who you are.
Miss M&M.
Yeah, you know Miss M. Capital M. Dr. M, shall I say. Thank you.
She was your cheerleader.
Yes, thank you for talking to her and speaking and
laying hands.
And when she was asleep, you were laying hands on her when she didn't even know it.
Oily.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please like, share, and do not forget to subscribe. I'm going to have some information at the bottom in the description box, so please check that information out. And also check out other videos from the process that you may have missed up until now. Okay, so until next time, we love you, and do not forget, be you,
And keep it moving.
Peace.
Peace.